How I paid off my £40,000 student loan within 1 year. If I told you that an ordinary person earning an ordinary salary cleared a £40,000 student loan in just 1 year, without winning the lottery, without a miracle, without a rich family member, and without working 3 jobs, would you believe me? Well, this is exactly what happened. And today I'm going to reveal the exact mental, financial, and strategic journey that made it possible. The sacrifices, the psychology, the discoveries, and the blueprint you can copy. Stick around. This might change your life. Before this video ends, you will walk away with a new relationship with money. You'll understand the psychology of debt, the structure of financial freedom, without losing their mind. If you're watching this, you're probably carrying a weight too. Maybe debt, maybe regret, maybe financial pressure that suffocates you quietly. But today, I'm going to show you what happens when one person refuses to accept the life they were handed. This is the story of how I fought back and won. Before we dive deep, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell so you never miss stories just like this one. Because the next video might be the one that changes your life. The moment everything changed. It started on a quiet Thursday. Nothing dramatic, no crisis, no explosion. Just a moment, a single moment that would redefine the next 12 months of my life. I opened my student loan account. I hadn't looked at it in months, maybe years. I always avoided it, like a monster hiding under the bed. But that night, for reasons I still can't explain, I looked. £40,312.76, a number so large my mind rejected it. I blinked, refreshed again, same number, £40,312.76. Most people see debt and look away, but that night, something inside me snapped. I realized this wasn't just a number, it was years of my life. It was future holidays I couldn't afford, homes I couldn't buy, choices I couldn't make. It was financial gravity, pulling everything in my life downward. I sat there for hours, staring, thinking, calculating, panicking. But somewhere in the chaos, a calm thought came through the noise. What if I paid it off in 1 year? Ridiculous, impossible, unreasonable, but powerful. Something shifted. My identity cracked open. It wasn't about the debt anymore. It was about becoming the kind of person who could conquer it. I engaged on a mindset shift. Most people think financial success starts with spreadsheets. It doesn't. It starts in the mind. When you see debt, you see a problem. But when you see yourself, you see potential, or limitations. And I realized my limitations were self-created. I had spent years telling myself a quiet story. I'll never pay off this loan early. I'll just deal with it when the government writes it off. That was not a story of empowerment. It was a story of surrender. So I rewrote it. I told myself, I am the kind of person who destroys debt. I am the kind of person who learns, adapts, evolves, and conquers. It felt like lying at first, but identity isn't built from accuracy. It's built from repetition. You become what you tell yourself. So every day, I said it. Every morning, every night, until it wasn't a statement. It was a fact. Now here is the plan that made the impossible possible. A goal without a plan is a wish, and I wasn't wishing anymore. I was building. 1. I tracked every pound. The first step wasn't glamorous. It wasn't exciting. I tracked my expenses, every coffee, every snack, every bus ride. Most people have no idea where their money goes, so money always goes where it wants. 2. I created a 3-tier budget. Tier 1, survival, food, rent, transport. Tier 2, stability, essentials that kept life functional. Tier 3, lifestyle, everything that wasn't necessary was eliminated. 3. I built a debt attack fund. Every leftover pound went into a separate account, labeled Destroy the Loan. Seeing that balance grow became addictive. 4. I automated discipline. Motivation is fragile. Systems are not. The moment my paycheck hit, automatic transfers moved the money. I removed myself from the process entirely because human weakness is the biggest threat to financial freedom. The next step was to structure a 12-month war. People love the idea of discipline. They don't love the reality of it. The next 12 months would test every part of my character: patience, consistency, identity, and emotion. Month 1: pain, shock, and reconstruction. Month 1 was brutal. Cutting lifestyle habits hurt. Friends questioned me. Temptations everywhere. But pain was the necessary price of transformation. Month 2: building new habits. I learned to cook. I learned to say no. I learned to entertain myself cheaply. I turned budgeting into a game I wanted to win. Month 3: systems take over. By month 3, motivation faded. Good. I didn't want motivation. I wanted structure, and structure carried me. Month 4: the first breakthrough. A small bonus came in. For the first time, my loan dropped below £30,000. I felt unstoppable. That one moment carried me for weeks. Months 5 to 8, the grind. These were the hardest months. Nothing exciting, no breakthroughs, just consistency. I sacrificed events, holidays, luxuries. I learned the discipline of saying no, not because I was broke, but because I was committed. Month 9: momentum. By month 9, the process felt effortless. Debt was shrinking. My habits were automatic. My confidence grew. This was the turning point, when identity finally matched action. Month 10: the final push. £10,000 left. I tightened my spending even more. I refused to let fatigue sabotage the final stretch. Everything in me focused on the finish line. Month 11: the wall. Burnout, exhaustion, second-guessing. Month 11 nearly broke me. But I had built something stronger than motivation. Purpose. Purpose carried me. Month 12: freedom. I made the final payment. £40,000 gone. Not reduced, gone. A silence filled me. A silence only people who escape debt understand. It was the sound of freedom. After the debt was gone, here's the part no one talks about. Once debt is gone, your life transforms. My opportunities grew. I saved more. I invested. I took risks I couldn't take before. Confidence replaced fear. Clarity replaced anxiety. Financial freedom isn't about money. It's about control of your life. Now here is the blueprint you can copy. Here's how you can start today. 1. Decide who you want to become. 2. Track every pound. 3. Build systems, not motivation. 4. Stay consistent for 12 months. You do not need a miracle. You need a decision. Before I take you deeper, I want you to imagine something. Imagine waking up one morning with no payments, no looming deadlines, no silent fear in the back of your mind reminding you that you owe thousands. Imagine the weight of £40,000 evaporating, not because you waited for it to disappear, but because you fought and won. That feeling, that freedom, is what drove me every single day through the toughest financial battle of my life. But what I rarely talk about, and what most people never share, is the emotional, mental, and psychological transformation that happened along the way. Paying off £40,000 wasn't just about money. It was about identity, about discipline, about rewriting the internal programming that society gives us by default. And it was about facing truths I had avoided for years. Now here is the invisible forces that keep people in debt. Debt isn't just a number, it's a system, and that system shapes how you think, how you live, and what you believe is possible. People don't stay in debt because they're irresponsible. Most stay in debt because they've been conditioned to believe that debt is normal, that payments are normal, that struggling is normal, that stress is normal. When I finally decided to pay off the loan, I had to confront the invisible scripts running my life. The belief that I would always live paycheck to paycheck, that debt was too big to challenge, that financial success was reserved for people smarter or richer than me. None of those things were true, but they felt true, and that feeling shaped my behavior for years. Now let's consider the identity shift. People think change begins with action, but real change begins with identity. If you believe you're the kind of person who struggles with money, your actions will reflect that identity. If you believe you're the kind of person who is capable, disciplined, and strategic, you'll act differently, even before you see the results. So I made a rule. I would act every day as the future version of myself, the version who had already paid off the loan. When I asked myself, should I buy this? I answered as the debt-free version of me. When I wondered whether to save or spend, I answered as the disciplined version of me. That mindset shift was a multiplier. It didn't just change my spending, it changed my life. Here is the dark moments, the parts nobody talks about. There were nights I questioned everything, nights when exhaustion hit so hard that giving up seemed easier, nights when I felt like I was missing out on life while everyone else enjoyed theirs freely. Social gatherings I skipped, invitations I declined, opportunities I passed on, not because I couldn't afford them, but because I was prioritizing freedom over momentary comfort. Success is rarely glamorous in the moment. It's lonely, it's tiring, it's uncomfortable. But discomfort is the birthplace of transformation. Every time I said no to something I wanted in the moment, I said yes to the life I wanted permanently. And that trade, that sacrifice, was worth it, every time. If this inspired you, like the video, drop a comment saying, "I want freedom." Share this with someone who needs hope, and subscribe for more life-changing content. Your journey starts now, and 1 year from today, everything could be different.